Hey guys, I just wanted to put a quick disclaimer at the beginning of the video. I am fairly new to this and I haven't got the best equipment or software, so it's not going to look the best. Over time, hopefully, I want to improve my camera gear, my lighting, my editing software, all of that, but right now, it's not really feasible. I have not much money and I can't afford any fancy editing software or any fancy cameras, which is why the video and the audio and all of that, they don't look or sound the best, but I find that it's more about the content of the video itself, and I don't think the video is completely unwatchable without any sort of effects that would make it look or sound nicer. So yeah, hopefully you guys can just stay with me and hopefully in time things will be looking and sounding better and it'll be just a more pleasant watching experience for everyone. But yeah, on to the video.
Hi, I'm Z. This is my bench and welcome to Z's Bench. This is part 2 of the teardown of the mysterious 70's lab equipment that I managed to get for about $20. I don't think I mentioned that. It's only about 20 Australian dollars. I've already got it out, it's already here on the bench, so let's just get right into it. A lot of the stuff on this panel is very similar to the last one, so it's going to be a lot quicker and simpler to just go through all of these items. I'll know how to remove them a lot easier, like this voltmeter. And yeah, let's just get right to it. So we've got another one of these. From all of the markings on the unit, these are identical. This one and the last one. So yeah, watch the previous video if you have any questions about this unit. The previous video probably won't tell you too much, but it'll at least give you a bit more of an idea. So we've got another fuse, as you might be able to see on the front panel, it says 1 amp. And the fuse inside is, in fact, a 1 amp fuse. So I'm filming this video the day after the release of the previous one. Just wanted to see how that one did before I went along with this one, and yeah. So this one is a 3 amp fuse. Come on, focus. There we go, 3 amps. Just like it should be. And yeah, so I'm actually really excited to go on this journey with you guys, with my channel, and all of this tech that I have. Sorry if it seems I'm a bit quieter or less talkative. Last video was very difficult for me to edit because I kept on going on for a while. So I want to change that. At least for my sake. Like, I had to cut quite a lot out. But don't worry, as soon as I finish removing all of this stuff, we have another unit to go, for one, and then I will go over all of the stuff that I've gotten. So it seems the strategy from last time for getting the voltmeter off is only half working. One of the arms of the voltmeter is very much refusing to pry itself free. There we go. Once again, an identical voltmeter from the last one. A lot of the stuff inside, as I said, is going to be very much the same, so it's going to be very quick to talk about because I've already talked about a lot of this stuff a bit more in the previous video. Oh, on the topic of these push buttons, because I'm sure that you guys are curious. I was able to get them all, I was able to fix them all so that they're all properly actuating again. And then I was able to separate them into individual units. So yes, reusing them is going to be a breeze. Next up, let's drop something. Of course I did. Next up, let's see if I can remove this Regavolt. Oh. The screw on this top one was a lot more forgiving than the last one, which is good. Very good. Makes it a lot easier to disassemble. So that's where we're going to see the trouble this time, with the nut that's holding it in place. I'll remove this bottom one first, so that I can get a bit more leverage from underneath. These are a dream to remove. Don't know why that first one was so difficult. Oh, wow! Okay, so I'll put this on top so that you can see. But that bottom shaft runs all the way up to this potentiometer around the back, which we'll need to remove a screwdriver. I'm surprised this one doesn't have any sort of solenoid on it. I half expected it to, since it was a vacuum unit. Actually no, this is the stub stage one. The vacuum unit's the next one. So now you've got quite the interesting potentiometer. I think that most of this is just a frame though. Got this lovely shaft on the front, which is impossible to turn. I think it was very difficult to turn even with the knob on and it in place. Yeah, looks like it's a very tough one that needs to get a bit of lubrication inside of it. And I have just the thing for if I ever want to use it. Let's detach this long shaft via the 4 grub screws on the top. Ah, easy. There goes right. This is a coupler. Couples the two shafts together. I may have a use for that at some point. I don't know. There we go. Here we are. Don't know if you can see, but it says L25 Burkostat by Burko in Enfield. You might be able to read the text a bit better. It's a lot lighter than I thought. It feels hollow. It's interesting. I could probably get most of this. I could probably get the rest of the stuff out here, actually. As I've mentioned previously, I have coordination issues, so the screwdriver doesn't fit in exactly properly. It can be very difficult for me to actually get around to removing it. Luckily, in this case, it wasn't too much of an issue. We've got the transformer out again. I would not be very surprised if it was identical to the one we had last time. It looks very similar. Doubt they've got very different purposes. I think all of these units were built so that they could be modularly used in conjunction with each other. So you'd have some units where it was just 1 or 2 of these boxes. Or, yeah, it's got the same markings on it. This doesn't have a date code on it. It does say it is made in the UK. Seems like this was built in the United Kingdom. Would very much not surprise me if it was. Don't know if I showed you in the other one, but there's this connector at the bottom. And that actually goes to a connector on some of the wires, but I've unplugged them because they were connected to other things that were in the unit. So hopefully you'll get to see the panels a bit clearer once I remove everything else. Next is try again to remove the Regavolt. Don't think I'm really getting anywhere with it. It's very, very tightly in. I may start removing the front panel. That could, using the bracket's rotation, could actually give me some leverage. Leverage is always important. So now the only thing holding the 2 panels together is the actual Regavolt, which is also made in England. Looks like it's coming out. We knew that the solution I had to use, basically, instead of trying to rotate the nut, I'm trying to rotate everything but the nut. That surprised me, but we finally got the regavolt. Some information. The regavolt by Burco. Lovely. So we've basically got this panel disassembled as well. Lovely. Always good. The only thing we've got in here are wires and that plug assembly, but I'll deal with that later. It's nothing we haven't seen before. Now, to get the final panel from there out, and maybe take a more comprehensive look at what's inside. The final panel. A very interesting one, if I do say so. On the front, it's not very assuming. You've just got the one button and a fuse. But take a look inside. And you've got all of this stuff. Fun fact, there's actually quite a bit more inside the box. I say quite a bit more, it's a little bit more. But it's still quite interesting. A lot of these components are functionally identical to all of the others. So you've got your switch, obviously. This one says vacuum, and it's yellow. And your fuse. Those are the nice, fun front panel units. Oh! In order to remove the fuse, I will have to remove a big metal bar. Because these components, they're not just mounted into the actual unit. They're mounted on a, metal bar. Oh, Lord. A metal, bar here. I'll show you when I get a chance to. This is probably so you don't have to, see all of the mounting points for all of the components that are mounted on the side. But it's still very interesting. So you've got this front cover, which just has the slot for the button, and the fuse holder, and the 2 screw holes for the actual mounting, and the 4 screw holes for securing it to the actual box, which, if I am correct, fits a standard 19-inch server rack type deal. Which is why I think this is modular, so that you can have different arrangements and you can fit them in with whatever other pieces of machinery you have that would fit in a standard server rack. This says 2 amp, and the fuse is a 2 amp fuse. I love the color on this fuse. I love the color on it. It's a nice deep purple, very similar to the accent color I've been trying to go for my channel. And so we've got the final front panel separated. This might be very useful for me. So you've got the switch holder. I could maybe lengthen it a bit, add some flicky switches, that kind of thing. I could definitely use this as some sort of panel for a project. But yeah, so got the fuse. Next, let's go for this old solenoid at the bottom. Very similar, if not an identical unit, to the one from the first panel. Oh, so this is the one I just pulled out of the unit, and it's actually different to the one that was in the top one, which is this one here, because you've actually got a nozzle on the top. Other than that, oh no, the numbers on it are different as well. Very interesting. This is a 300 psi unit, and this is a 100 psi unit. This is a 1/8 of an inch orifice. This is a 3/32 inch orifice. They're both 230 volts, 50 amp, but 50. They're both 230 volts, 50 hertz. They both have 8 watts. And this one's a 121 A03, and this one's a 131 A13. Very interesting. I'll see what information I can dig up on these at some point. Next on the unit is probably this thing that's basically just dangling there. I think this is a pump. Let's test that, actually. I have a DC power supply, courtesy of a good friend of mine, actually. It's just going to start very small. Very, very small. 5 volts. We have no movement at 5 volts. I am honestly surprised. Yeah. It's not like it's not drawing any current. It's just not moving. It's drawing like an amp, but still nothing. Huh. This looks complicated to disassemble, so let's just get started. So you seem to have this part, which consists of the motor holder, the actual actuation, the pump, and the two pump connection points. Maybe it's just a 12 volt one. Oh! It's working now. Ooh. Drawing much less current now. Much less current. That's very interesting. Let's see if I can't. It's working again. Just does not seem to like being hooked up like this, which is probably understandable. Probably a pump, and this motor works. Actually, this assembly is a lot less complicated now that I actually look at it, because a lot of what I have to disconnect is just things for holding the motor in place. These black things at the bottom, they're probably supposed to be an adhesive that just over time has just like a foam pad dampening adhesive type thing that is just over time just degraded. But yeah, you've got your nice motor, your pump assembly. This looks like it might be some sort of filter. I'm not really sure. And then you've got the final couple of things. I'm not fully sure. But actually, no. Looking at it, I think I know what this does. I think. So you've got the transformer here at the bottom, which is probably basically identical to most of the others we've seen before. Then, on the top, you've got this box. And from the markings, I think this is a full bridge rectifier, which is very neat, very interesting. There's probably a data sheet for it somewhere that I'm going to be very interested in looking at some point. Just going online and researching these components might actually be a part 3 to this series, but no promises there. So yeah, very interesting, very, very nice. Looking at this transformer, it actually looks smaller than the other ones. So this is probably a smaller unit, obviously, so that you could use it for this unit and have the right width and height and such. I haven't seen any date codes on anything since the last video, but hey, maybe. RS seem to be a big name in all of these components, because they are on a lot. They're on the transformers, I believe. No. Yes, they're on the transformers. They're on this resistor, this giant resistor. They're probably on a couple of other things that I don't immediately remember. So, we've got everything but the standard old wires and such off of this unit. So let's take a look inside the actual case. So, we're at the bottom of the unit. Most of what's left inside is just cables, such as the power cable, and the cables connecting to this mysterious bottom panel. Let's get it out. I will show you up close. So you've got this panel that's got your gas connections. You've got these weird slots in them that I have no clue what they do. And then more of these weird plugs. And then you've just got a whole mess of wires coming from them. And to be honest, that's actually it. There's nothing else in the unit. So that's actually it for the content of these boxes. It's been quite an interesting trip looking into all of the technology within and how it all really works and goes together. Maybe I'll release a part 3 with actually looking at the different components, how they work, that kind of thing, more in depth, more than going over looking at them from the outside, that kind of thing. I'm very excited to get all of these into a usable condition for me. It's going to be quite exciting. But yeah, thank you everyone for joining me. It's been quite a ride. I've been very happy that I've been able to do this with all of you guys watching. Thanks for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Bye!
A special thanks to all of my patrons over at patreon.com/zbench. Join them today!